The latest clash involving 50 Cent did not start with Maino. It started with Jim Jones. As part of the ongoing conversation around the Sean Diddy Combs documentary that 50 Cent executive produced, multiple artists were asked for reactions. Jim Jones spoke publicly, questioning both the timing and the motivation behind the project. He suggested that 50 Cent's involvement felt personal and hinted that it went beyond journalism or storytelling. That comment did not sit well with 50 Cent. 50 Cent responded the way he often does, publicly, directly, and without subtlety. On social media, he mocked Jim Jones, questioned his credibility, and dismissed his opinion altogether. The exchange escalated quickly, with 50 using humor, sarcasm, and insults, which is a pattern he has used for years when dealing with public criticism. This is where Maino entered the situation. Maino, who has a long-standing relationship with Jim Jones and deep roots in New York hip-hop, spoke out in defense of Jim. In interviews and online comments, Maino said he felt 50 Cent crossed a line. He accused 50 of disrespecting Jim Jones unnecessarily and suggested that 50 often targets people when he feels challenged. Maino's response was not aggressive, but it was firm. He framed his comments around respect, legacy, and the idea that disagreements do not have to turn personal. However, given 50 Cent's history, any public pushback was likely to get a response.
As of now, there has been no reconciliation and no official statement indicating that the situation is resolved. All parties have continued with their careers, but the exchange remains part of the broader conversation surrounding the Diddy documentary and the ongoing re-examination of hip-hop's past. What started as commentary on a film turned into a reminder of how personal history, loyalty, and pride still shape the culture. And if history is any indication, this will not be the last time 50 Cent responds to criticism with confrontation, especially when the spotlight is this bright.
And it did. 50 Cent responded to Maino almost immediately. He dismissed Maino's comments and implied that Maino was inserting himself into a situation that did not concern him. He questioned Maino's relevance in the conversation and used humor to undermine him rather than directly address his points. At this stage, the situation was no longer about the documentary alone. It had turned into a broader conversation about loyalty, ego, and long-standing tensions in New York hip-hop. To understand why this escalated so quickly, you have to understand who 50 Cent is and how he operates. 50 Cent has built a reputation over decades as someone who does not back down from conflict. From his early days in Queens to his rise in the music industry, confrontation has been part of his public persona. He has feuded with artists, executives, and even entire labels, often using humor and strategy rather than direct threats. But this situation is different from a traditional rap beef. The Diddy documentary represents a serious moment in hip-hop history. It is tied to legal cases, industry accountability, and public reevaluation of power. When artists like Jim Jones criticize 50 Cent's involvement, they are not just talking about music. They're talking about ethics, timing, and responsibility. From 50 Cent's perspective, he has said repeatedly that the documentary is about telling the truth and documenting history. He has framed his role as a producer, not a judge. In interviews, he has stated that he did not create the allegations and that the stories would exist whether he was involved or not. Jim Jones, on the other hand, has expressed concern about how these stories affect the culture and the people connected to it. His comments were interpreted by some as protective of hip-hop's legacy, and by others as deflective. Maino's involvement added another layer. Maino has often positioned himself as someone who speaks on respect and accountability within the culture. His decision to defend Jim Jones was consistent with his past behavior, but it placed him directly in 50 Cent's line of fire. When 50 responded to Maino, it reinforced a pattern people have noticed for years. 50 does not separate criticism from confrontation. If someone challenges him publicly, he responds publicly, often in a way that shifts attention away from the original issue and onto personality. Social media amplified everything. Fans quickly took sides. Some praised 50 Cent for standing his ground and refusing to be silenced. Others criticized him for attacking fellow New York verdists instead of engaging with the substance of the criticism. Clips, screenshots, and reactions spread across platforms, turning the exchange into viral content. What makes this clash particularly interesting is that it reflects larger tensions in hip-hop right now. There is a divide between artists who believe exposing uncomfortable truths is necessary and those who feel the culture is being damaged by public conflict and legal scrutiny. 50 Cent has positioned himself firmly in the first group. Jim Jones and Maino appear more cautious about how these stories are told and who benefits from them. Neither side has escalated beyond words, but the exchange highlights how fragile relationships can be when business, legacy, and public image collide. It also shows how power dynamics have shifted. 50 Cent is no longer just a rapper. He is a television executive, producer, and media figure with influence beyond music. Jim Jones and Maino, while respected artists, are operating in a different lane. That imbalance plays a role in how these conflicts unfold and how the public perceives them.